welcome, friends and family. Excited to be here with you this Monday, Motivate with Elevate. And we're going to do more of a sit-down conversation this throughout this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Legendary book, been around a long time. And probably my second time going through it with KC. And we're going through it every week. We're going to go through a different section upstairs with our team. And then KC are going to come down here, and I and KC are going to share a little bit about what we're learning about it personally and kind of interview each other, ask questions, conversate around a really good book. So these are kind of fireside chats per se, and we're excited to be doing this live with you all. It helps us learn better and be better prepared so that we can take these principles and actually apply them, right? Because one of the things that really stood out to me in here is that just knowing what to do is only half the battle. Actually going out there and applying it and finding places where you can apply it means a lot. So,
right. Yeah. In anything that we're learning, right, it's you can have the knowledge of it, you can learn it, but you can't, you got to be able to apply it, right? You got to be able to enact it, to put it into your daily life and learn how to make that a part of your new person. And that's a challenge, well, for anybody, right? So, in this chapter 1, the title of the chapter is "If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive," and you can pretty well kind of formulate the chapter in your mind just from that one sentence.
Yeah.
If you want to gather the sweet fruit out of a relationship, whether that be a friendship, a coworker, a spouse, whatever that may be, if you want to get the sweet honey out of that relationship, you can't go breaking it. You can't go kicking it over and things like that. And I think for a lot of people that becomes part of their everyday thing. I think it's human to want to be right, to want to be your point proven, to look at what I know. Ego, right? In a lot of ways, I think that's very natural for people. So.
I remember Casey years ago. We drove the bus, get dropped off from school, and the bus never let us off right at our driveway. So a lot of times they'd let us off a little way above, and we'd have to walk to our houses. And I had a neighbor, Mason Wallace, was my neighbor, and Mason was as big of a troublemaker as I was by far. He was, didn't have to talk him into much, just try to stir up the beehive, right? And literally, there was a beehive one day up in a tree. And Mason dared us to see if we could, throw stones and hit it. Well, none of us were a great stone throw. We couldn't hit it. So walk over there with a stick, hit the beehive, cut it in half, and these bees come flooding out, man. We all just take off running. Of course, we get stung. We get eat up by the beehive, just being silly, right? Just being kids. At that time, we did know better. We just didn't do better. How about you, Casey? Has there been a time in your life, man, where maybe?
I don't know. I don't know that I have a specific actual beehive story. I mean, I've been around, and usually we would just wait till after dark and light it on fire because they don't fly after dark. So, but that's typically where we were at with that. But no, I mean, in the concept of what this book is talking about, I mean, obviously you gave the real life beehive, but what this is relating to is how we treat people, and that's what this whole book is about, right? Yeah. Is your relationship with other people, and whatever relationship that you may have with them. Again, like I said, friendship, coworker, spouse, parents, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles.
Yeah.
Church life. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This applies to everything, just people in general, right? And what this is getting at in chapter 1 is people have this knack, like I said earlier, to want to be right, and nobody wins an argument, right? I am probably one of the worst when it comes to saying, well, technically, this is how this works. And I'm sure that those of you that know me that are watching this probably chuckled a little bit, because if you've been around me at any point in time, you'll know that anytime we're sitting around and if something gets mentioned, I say, well, technically, if you look at it this way, that's actually true, or whatever else. And I do that a lot of times because one, it is my nature, and two, I had that relationship with that person to know that we're kind of getting along. It's not, but when I'm working with people that maybe don't know me as much, I got to be real careful with that. Um, people that don't understand that I haven't shown them that I'm truly am for them.
Right.
Um,
And maybe even a little nerdy at times.
yeah,
Like
most
you
certainly.
can get into those details
Yes.
a little more than most, and you might not appear that way. You play in a band, you're a cool guy, but truthfully, to get to know you, Casey, you get into the details. You
Yeah.
do get into those weeds.
Yeah, I most certainly can, and it's one of my roles here that you've blessed me enough to be in is working with the agents on our team and helping them grow in their function and their day to day schedules and things like that they're doing, and help them track, kind of where they're going and where they want to be, and looking at the data to make sure that that's cohesive with each other, and you know, and in that journey, oftentimes, uh, whenever, um, as salespeople, a true salesman is very energetic, outspoken, extroverted, gets along with people, never meets a stranger, which is not my personality by nature. And when I have an agent that's like that, we got a wonderful team member now with Nate Garcia,
Nate's amazing.
and Nate's like that, is very
Super
outgoing,
positive.
smiling, and
Yeah.
going around, and he'll come in and is like, oh, I got 2 appointments set today or something like that, and my brain immediately goes, well, did you talk about a buy rep with them? Did you get a buy rep signed? Did you get this? And my brain immediately goes to checklist like, hey, great, I'm glad you got 2 appointments, but let's go through the list and see that you checked off everything to make sure everything's in order. My brain does that because it's in my mind. I'm like, well, I'm helping him understand that we may have got the appointment, but let's make sure we got everything in line, right, to put you in the best situation when you go to that appointment.
Yeah.
What I have to remember is that he's excited, and what
Mm.
I've done is I've just doused that flame because I immediately went from the excitement of, hey, I got this accomplished, to, well, let's double check it to make sure you did it right.
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 And although that may be the correct thing to do, it's not the correct thing to do in that moment, right? So
Right.
I have to come out of myself, realize that is for Nate, for Sierra, for fill in the blank with whatever agent may be in that situation. Also, in your daily lives, you come home from a tough day at work or whatever that may look like, and your kid's excited because they just drew something, or they made something, or they've put something together, or they're excited about something, and they're like, hey, look at this, and you just walked in the door and you're like, so did you clean your room? Did you, you immediately douse that flame.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it.
Me too, man.
On,
My kids are actually telling me now, don't correct me anymore.
Yeah.
But I think all kids do that. I think they're tricking me.
Yeah.
But,
So
but I do get that.
most certainly. And, Elijah, it's making myself understand, right? And that's part of kicking over a beehive, right? When you think of that, you think of aggression, like I'm kicking something over them. But it could be very subtle, right? I mean, it's just as simple as, one word could get you to where you're kicking over the beehive. So it's a lot of different things that could fall into play in that. So for me, it is learning and understanding that even though I am that not extroverted guy, I'm not the guy that goes around smiling. I'm the guy that people look at and wonder if I'm mad most of the time, even when I'm not, simply because I've got to learn how to express myself better.
Awesome,
So, and I got to be cognizant of that when, I have that excitement in front of me, to not be my natural state and douse it. And the thing is I can be just as excited for them as they are, but I don't reflect it in the same way, so it winds up having a negative effect. So I got to do the extra, which is fine. If everybody did the extra, we'd all be in a better place, right?
Amen, man. So, amen. That's so good. And obviously, some of these skills will come more natural to some than others. This book was created to help people learn how to become more perfect, people perfect and you have a very mechanical mindset, of much of an engineer, and you want things done correctly. And you're a coach. I mean, by nature, you're a coach. You're a trainer, and that's what you do at a high level. But learning that approach to be the best coach, that's just kind of shifting that a little bit.
Yes, most certainly.
Yeah.
So, Elijah, when you was going through this chapter,
Yeah, man.
you know, what you already said, kind of what stood out to you about it. What would you say is inspired in you to change? What when you read this chapter, what was one aspect of your day to day that you thought I can make a change here and be a little bit better? We all know that you know, it's human nature to want to make these big changes, but really when you look at it, it's making several small changes along the way that lead to those big changes.
So true. So true, man. And you know, for me, one of the main things that stood out to me was, it's so often we see the changes that we want other people to make, and we can go to trying to help them, like you said, with our children, with our spouse, with our team members. We can go right into the man, how am I going to get them where they need to be? How am I going to correct that, and so that quits happening? And obviously, for me, one of the best trainings in this book was be that change. You know, start with yourself. And he actually made it like a really good point. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. It just says it like this. It says, "Do you know someone you would like to change and regulate and improve? Good. Now that's fine. I am all in favor of it. But why not begin with yourself from a purely selfish standpoint? That is a lot more profitable than trying to improve others. Yes, and a lot less dangerous. Don't complain about the snow on your neighbor's roof," said Confucius, "when your own doorstep is unclean." And I think for me, man, you know, that's what I try to do. I try to play the long game. And that helps me in life a lot, because I know where I was 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. And so I didn't get to where I'm at overnight. You know, I didn't become 48 overnight. And I still got a lot of room to grow. So I like how he expressed it, though. Even from a selfish standpoint, KC, I can focus on me and try to get me better and try to improve me. And generally, people around you will see that, and hopefully that example will radiate, especially when you're in a leadership position like you are as a sales manager, or, you know, Lindsay is as the integrator. You know, when you're in leadership roles, then naturally, when you improve, everybody around you improves.
Right.
And so that to me just reminded me, that was that reminder that, you know, quit trying to pull the beam out of everybody else's eye, Elijah, when you got plenty of work you can do on yourself.
Right. One of the oldest lessons taught, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And man, yeah, it's like when we do that, when we get that beam when I can get that beam out of my own eye, then I can come alongside a coworker, a wife, a child, and help them remove it. But it's not in a judgmental manner. It's in a, I care, and because I care, that's why I'm here. And then if they see that you've made those changes, they're going to naturally maybe trust you a little more and want to get it. So just growing ourselves up is you know, I can lead other people. The hardest person I had to lead sits in this chair right here.
Right.
I look in the mirror every day.
And I think that's true for a lot of people in this world. You know, I would dare say all of them.
Yeah.
You know, most certainly. And it all begins internally. It all this whole book again is about what changes can you make to yourself and your attitude and your mindset to help get along with other people. That's this entire book. And again, like you said, I think this is our second time going through it. I don't know if we actually made it all the way through it the first time, but we got
started
a long way into it.
They got disrupted with some Donald Miller training. So
yeah.
you're right, we got about halfway through it.
But it is an excellent book, and I'm not a reader. You know, you've helped me be more of a reader in the last 4 years, probably than I ever did all the way through high school and even college, by far. You know, but it's always great books, and you know, realistically, you could almost do this one twice a year and probably have a great benefit.
Get some good reminders, man.
You know.
So we can build people skills just like we can build uh, technical skills.
No, certainly.
And we are in the people business, you and I. And
Mhm.
we will be, Lord willing, the rest of our lives. You're uh, significantly younger than I am. I'm 48, and I think you're 33.
Mhm.
So you've got many more years ahead of you. And John Maxwell always said that if you want to win a race, the best way to win, start before, right? And so being 33, man, and going through this kind of material, already sharp, already quick, I think it's just going to advance you so much. And the cool thing I know about you, Mr. Casey, is that when you advances you, you really do have a heart. You care about people. So you're going to want to go in and pour this good stuff into others. And I
Right.
see you doing that. I see you even down here as you're coaching your team members, trying to pour into them some of these people skills that are vital if you're going to make a living and do more than just survive.
Right. It's a struggle, right? It's everybody wants what's best for me, right? And the thing is if I told you that uh, the best way for you to get what's best for you is to help other people get what's best for them, and that is a mindset that's not common. And when most people hear that, they think, well, that's silly. The only way I can get what's best for me is to look out for me. And it doesn't matter what everybody else feels like because I got it. The only person that's going to care for me is me. That's the majority of the mentality.
It's a lot of
And
people.
and that's why we have as much hurt and suffering as we do in the world, is because of that mentality. And realistically, the way that you get what you want is to help other people get what they want. And I believe a good man by the name of Zig Ziglar said that, which you also introduced me to. So, but
Yeah.
that's the way you go about it. We're fortunate enough to be a part of a benefit that took place up in Livingston this weekend to try to help out some families that were affected by the floods out in North Carolina and East Tennessee. Um, and I love doing those events. And I don't do as many of them as I used to just because of time conflicts and other things that are going on. But we definitely take time to be a part of those when we can, uh, because that's a part of this concept of
Mm-hmm.
of helping others.
Yeah. Giving
Get with
back.
uh, so
And like you said, man, that was twofold for us this weekend. One of our good friends is going through a tough time. You were there for a friend, and you were able to help out in a benefit that served
right,
the flood victims
yep.
in North Carolina and East Tennessee. So, like, yeah, and the good, and I bet you felt great about it. But obviously, you had to drag your family, your body, everything there on a Sunday at 2
Oh yeah.
o'clock.
Well, the family enjoyed it. Gives a chance for us to
Mm-hmm.
go out and do something, as a family, and
Mm-hmm.
and again, it's that time of year where the trees are attacking us. So you can probably hear it in my voice
Mm-hmm.
during this conversation. Um, so it does take effort, but there was nobody. The people who put that event on put in a lot more effort than I did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Yeah, Emily
what
and Rick and those
right.
guys did a great job.
Most certainly, and
Mm-hmm.
shout out to them for putting that together. I
Mm-hmm.
believe she said that was the first one she ever put together.
Right.
So Emily, you did a fantastic job. I don't know if you'll see this or not, but if you do, you
You
did a
did great.
fantastic job with that.
Mm-hmm.
And those things, and it's all about support. It's the whole thing, right? It's people helping people, and that's what this whole book is about: is people helping people, and how can you become better
Mm-hmm.
at being that person that helps people.
And we just want to remind you, as kind of wrapping up today,
Yeah,
don't kick over no beehives. You're
yeah,
not gonna get no honey that way.
yeah. It's a smart, not a smart idea.
Not a smart idea.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you can tune back in next week. We're gonna follow up with this and go into chapter 2. Just kind of gradually walk through it. Y'all have a great week.